Strickland and Khamzat fight is going to be very interesting. Strickland is not an easy guy to take down, and he's not an easy guy to hold down, and he's a very difficult guy to hit on his feet, and he's got a super awkward style. Early on in the fight, whether or not Strickland can avoid the takedown, and whether or not Khamzat can hit him, and whether or not he can avoid getting hit, because Strickland will set some traps. He's sneaky with his striking.
It's so hard to even think anybody could stop Khamzat right now at anything.
Between now and the night that Sean Strickland won his last fight and called for Chimaev. And Chimaev went to the media and said, I'll fight him. Now, we were never bullish on that over here, Bad Guy Inc. We loved the idea, we supported the idea, we just understood, because it had been told in the media since mid-October of last year, that it was going to be Imanov. I thought there was a very good argument that Strickland get that fight, considering
Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev is shaping up to be one of the most fascinating fights the UFC has put together in years. On paper, Chimaev looks unstoppable. His wrestling pressure, relentless pace, and terrifying aggression have made even elite fighters crumble under the spotlight. But Sean Strickland is not a normal opponent. He is awkward, durable, difficult to control, and mentally unbreakable inside the cage. That combination alone makes this matchup feel completely different from every other fight Chimaev has had so far. The biggest question entering the fight is simple.
Imanov in head-to-head competition. Imanov's last loss was to top-ranked former champion Sean Strickland. I think that's hard to get around. I think it's a good argument for Sean, but I also thought that we were probably going in circles because Imanov already had the fight and it just had not been announced. And not only did I believe he had the fight, like as secondary evidence, he had no other fight. He was not building in a different direction. No other athlete able to look at Imanov and look where he's at in the rankings and look how close he is to a title shot.
Can Strickland stop the takedown? Because if he can keep this fight standing for extended periods, the entire narrative around Khamzat Chimaev suddenly changes overnight. Strickland has built his reputation on frustrating opponents. His style looks simple from the outside, but once fighters stand in front of him, they quickly realize how hard he is to hit cleanly. He constantly pressures forward with that long jab, subtle defense, shoulder rolls, and sneaky counters that slowly break opponents mentally. Many people underestimate his striking because he doesn't throw flashy techniques, but Strickland's real weapon is his timing and composure. He sets traps. He forces mistakes. He drags opponents into uncomfortable exchanges with...
And usually when that happens, it's because the locker room got some inside scoop, and they've been sworn to secrecy, but Imanov is off the table, in this case, gonna fight Chimaev. It's not what happened. So what is the difference? What changed? Did they go for a different fight? I mean, we keep hearing these lockdown rumors on Chimaev. We keep hearing that he's got visa issues and that he can't get about. But if they wanted to fight him in the U.S., specifically the U.S., he can't get about. But guys, it was last week through Instagram that training footage of Chimaev at the training lab was taking place.
They begin doubting themselves. Against Chimaev, that could become a massive factor because Khamzat has rarely faced someone this calm under pressure. The UFC world exploded when Strickland openly called out Chimaev, and Chimaev immediately accepted the challenge publicly. Fans loved the idea instantly because stylistically it feels like a true collision between two completely different worlds. But behind the scenes, things apparently were not that simple. Reports suggested for months that Nassourdine Imavov was expected to receive a major fight opportunity instead. Many insiders believed that matchup was practically finalized, even though it was never officially announced. That is why the sudden movement toward Strickland versus Chimaev shocked so many people across the MMA community. It felt like
speculating, hey look, he doesn't actually want to fight Pierre or have heat with Pierre per se. He has heat with the 205-pound champion because he would like to be the 205-pound champion, because he would like to get out of 185 because his body is just grown. Okay, fine. I mean, that's a reasonable story that after being put out was not countered by Chimaev and his team. Usually, doesn't make it so, but usually when you're doing your detective work, if something gets said about a top guy that is not accurate, the top guy and or team will respond to correct the record. That never happened.
The plans had suddenly changed overnight. What makes the situation even more interesting is the argument in favor of Sean Strickland. Strickland already defeated Imavov head-to-head. In combat sports, direct victories matter. If fighter A beats fighter B, it becomes difficult to explain why fighter B deserves the bigger opportunity over the man who defeated him. That is why many analysts believe Strickland earned the right to jump ahead in the middleweight title conversation. At the same time, Imavov was sitting in a powerful position within the rankings, and many fighters avoided calling him out completely. That silence inside the division created speculation that fighters and managers already knew something important behind closed doors. Then there is the mystery surrounding Khamzat Chimaev himself. For months, fans...
Did you guys see the odds? My partners, right now, DraftKings, 6-1. 6-1 is what they are favoring Chimaev to beat Strickland. 2-1 when the fight opened, Chimaev versus Dricus. When that bell rang, they were 2-1. 6-1 is what Izzy Adesanya was favored the night he fought Sean Strickland.
Heard non-stop rumors about visa issues and complications preventing him from fighting in the United States. The narrative became so widespread that many people accepted it as fact. Yet suddenly training footage emerged showing Chimaev working inside American gyms. That instantly created confusion throughout the MMA world. If he truly could not enter the country, how was he suddenly training there? The entire story started collapsing under scrutiny. Some fans began wondering whether the visa narrative had become a smokescreen hiding other negotiations or bigger plans behind the scenes. Another major storyline involves Chimaev's long-term ambitions. Many believe he no longer sees himself staying
3-1 is what Islam was the night that he beat Charles Oliveira, right? If you remember that point in time, nobody believed that Islam wasn't walking out there with the belt. Nobody believed that Charles had what it took to stand up to Islam. And with that said, it got to 3-1. So 3-1 doesn't just represent a confidence, it's a confidence in a domination. 3-1 is essentially saying, our guy, our 3-1 favorite, is going to finish your guy. This is 6-1!
At middleweight forever. His body continues growing, and physically he looks enormous even for the 185-pound division. There has also been non-stop discussion linking him to light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. Chimaev himself has shown interest in fighting at 205 pounds, and interestingly, nobody from his team aggressively denied those rumors. In the UFC, silence often says more than words. Usually when false stories spread about elite fighters, managers rush to shut them down immediately. But that never happened here. Because of that, many people now believe Chimaev genuinely sees himself becoming a future two-division champion. That possibility adds even more pressure to the Strickland fight. If
common opponent being Kamaru Usman, who came out and said, I think Sean Strickland can beat him. And Kamaru Usman thinks that Chimaev is great. He just said that Strickland can beat him. He said, you know, when you start fighting him, you think he's a wrestler. And you don't have to worry that he's going to take you down, but his defense is that of a wrestler. George Masvidal comes out and does an interview. George, who just saw Sean training at the American Top Team, said the exact same thing about the takedown defense.
Chimaev defeats Sean decisively, his momentum towards superstardom becomes unstoppable. But if Strickland survives the wrestling and drags Khamzat into deep waters, suddenly every future matchup becomes more complicated. The betting odds show just how strongly the public believes in Chimaev. At one point, sportsbooks reportedly listed Khamzat as a massive favorite over Strickland. Those numbers shocked many longtime MMA fans because Strickland has already proven capable of upsetting overwhelming favorites before. People remember when Israel Adesanya entered his fight against Sean Strickland as a huge betting favorite. Almost everyone predicted Adesanya would dominate comfortably. Instead, Strickland shocked the world by walking him.
And that seems to be the big question when you're fighting Chimaev. Like, before we get into resumes, who's ranked, who should be there, when we come down to what's the guy that possesses the skill set where we can close our eyes and make believe that Chimaev could get beat, we have to first be able to convince ourselves that that guy possesses superior takedown defense to the excellent offense takedown abilities of Chimaev. I think Strickland's that guy. I think they found the right guy.
Down, outstriking him, and capturing the championship in one of the biggest upsets in recent UFC history. That memory alone makes these odds feel dangerous. Sean Strickland has already proven that doubters can underestimate him badly. Comparisons to Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira also surfaced during discussions around this fight. Islam entered that matchup as a heavy favorite because fans believed his grappling would overwhelm Oliveira completely. The odds reflected confidence in domination. But Chimaev being favored even more heavily than that against Strickland surprised many observers because Sean possesses one of the strongest defensive styles in the division. He rarely panics, rarely overcommits, and has exceptional balance during wrestling exchanges. Perhaps the most important opinions came.
Imanov deserves that title shot. And I realize the hypocrisy that sounds because I am pushing for Sean, but I'm pushing for Sean because Sean beat him head to head. I just think that's a hard thing to ignore. So now what do you do with Imanov? And by the way, when you elect to do whatever you're going to do with Imanov, can we all agree that that is the #1 contendership? Because no, I don't think that we're going to get that guarantee. I think a backup role is very important. I think a backup role is needed. I think it would be wise if Imanov got that spot, but today I feel for him.
From elite fighters themselves. Former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman, who has fought Chimaev personally, openly stated that Sean Strickland has the tools to beat him. That statement carries enormous weight because Usman understands exactly how dangerous Khamzat's wrestling pressure truly is. Jorge Masvidal echoed similar thoughts after watching Strickland train closely at American Top Team. Both fighters highlighted Sean's takedown defense as the key factor that could completely change the fight. That is ultimately the central question. Before analyzing rankings, title shots, or championship implications, everyone must answer one thing. Can Strickland stay on his feet? From elite fighters themselves. Former welterweight champion Kamaru